How did WWI, rationing bureaucracy, complicate daily life? Imagine waking up each day knowing that your breakfast, lunch, and dinner depend on a set of strict rules and stamps. During World War I, civilians faced this reality because of rationing systems put in place to support the war effort. Rationing was introduced to make sure there was enough food, fuel, and other essentials for soldiers fighting overseas. But it also meant that everyday routines changed dramatically for families at home. Getting your hands on staple foods like sugar, butter, or meat was no longer just about buying what you wanted. People had to register with local rationing boards or food controllers to get ration books or stamps. These stamps were like coupons that showed how much of each item you could buy. For example, a family might get a certain number of stamps for each person every week, and they had to plan meals carefully to avoid running out before the next allotment. This meant families had to keep track of their stamps and plan shopping trips more carefully than ever before. The process of proving who was eligible for more or less ration was often complicated. Some households had to show proof that they were essential workers or had young children to get extra rations. This could involve filling out forms, waiting in lines, and dealing with officials who sometimes made mistakes or changed rules without warning. In the United States, for example, gasoline was rationed with different stickers for cars based on the owner's role, which made filling up more confusing. Rationing also caused shortages and limited what families could buy. Stores often had empty shelves because supplies were being carefully controlled. Families had to get creative with their cooking, using less sugar or butter and finding substitutes. Propaganda encouraged voluntary sacrifices at first, but as supplies grew tighter, governments made rationing laws mandatory. This meant more paperwork, more enforcement, and more restrictions. Local shops had to follow strict rules about how much they could sell and how to handle ration stamps. This slowed down shopping trips and sometimes caused long lines or confusion at checkout. Food producers and distributors also faced government controls, which limited the variety and amount of goods they could supply. As a result, people often felt frustrated or anxious about whether they could feed their families properly. All these bureaucratic rules created a sense of intrusion into daily life. People had to constantly think about their rations, keep track of stamps, and deal with officials. This added stress and made normal routines more complicated. It was a big change from pre-war days when shopping was simple and free. The government tried to balance fairness and efficiency, but many civilians felt the weight of these restrictions every day. So, the bureaucracy behind rationing during World War I made daily life more difficult by adding extra steps to shopping, limiting what could be bought, requiring proof of eligibility, and creating social tensions. Families had to adapt quickly to new rules, and the experience left a lasting mark on how civilians managed life on the home front during wartime.